my thoughts. I shut it down wherever power is stored. Being real is in the past, watching cowards get on. It ain't kill me, so it's making me stronger. And these bite-sized rappers now sensing my
What the hell's going on, people? This is Periodic, and you see the title of the video. We are jumping back into Dragonball Z Dokkan Battle in order to do our first LR tier list of 2021, meaning not who's the worst LR of 2020. This is who are the best LRs on global currently. Dokkan Fest and Legendary Summon. We are not going to be including any free-to-play or Japan only, obviously. So we're going to head over onto our little tier maker. 11 tiers this time. People be... some of you be telling me, like, dude, you got too many tiers. And what I say to them is, I'm going to give you a few tiers of your own. You keep on talking crap about my tier list. We're doing 11 tiers, starting at Zeno tier, Grand Priest tier, Guide Angel tier, God of Destruction tier, Supreme Kai tier, Grand Kai tier, King Kai tier, King Yama tier, Kami tier, Korin tier, Master Roshi tier. Three things. This is global only. You will not see LR Turles Army on this list. You will not see LR Babidi and Boo on this list. Number two, the order of the characters does not matter. If they end up on a tier, then they all, in my opinion, are somewhere equivalent to each other in form of power. Number three, I rank them in not necessarily overall, but sometimes I will take something into account more than others. So for example, for certain characters, I'll take leader skill. If they have like double leader skills that are super OP, if their kit itself is not that great, that leader skill might carry them a little bit higher. Same thing with like certain passives and things of that nature. Okay, so let's head down here and take a look at pretty much the selection that we have, because we have, you know, a pretty big selection over here. And let's start off with the bottom. Very quickly, even if a unit is at the bottom, they're still very strong. They still have the potential to do millions of damage and do all that stuff, and they're still useful. So we're going to start at the bottom with Strength Broly. Strength Broly really at this point in the game is useful on one game mode, which is World Tournament, and even then he kind of gets countered by AGL, Napa, and Vegeta. But he still makes that game mode very easy, even with them in the game, with that LR in the game. Everything else he does pretty well. He can get to like 1, maybe 2 million attack stat on a good team. As I've always said before, what holds him back is his flat attack boost and flat defense debuff. Now, the good thing about the flat negative debuff that he gives himself for defense is that when support percentages get better, their support skill 30%, 40%, 50%, etc., it will make that minus defense less and less and less, because their support, the leader skills, are giving him more defense to kind of counteract that. The problem is that his attack is also flat. So it does the same thing with his attack. His attack does not benefit as much from leader skills and passive skills as any other character in the game. So that is why he is at the bottom. Another unit that is at the bottom, LR Goten and Trunks. LR Goten and Trunks, the reason why I put them there is the simple fact that they are the only LR in the game that lowers their own attack on their 12 key. That is extremely unfortunate, and you kind of really have to get lucky on their 18 key to be able to do any kind of decent damage, having them go Super Saiyan 3 only 30% of the time. And not to mention that, their key could be an issue because they only have a random chance to gain key. So that kind of stinks. And besides that, they do a lot of damage if they're able to get that Super Saiyan 3 super attack. And they're not great defensively. They're okay. Their links are not that fantastic, and honestly they don't fit on like strong teams. Like some of the strongest teams you would want to put them on are on like Youth and like Hybrid Saiyans, but obviously there's better options, and Youth is not really a top tier team at the moment. It will get better down the road, but as of yet it's not top tier. Okay, we're gonna move on to the tier above. We're going to Korin tier, and I'm actually gonna move Majin Vegeta onto this tier here. Again, lacking defense, just like the first two units. He does a ton of damage. He has that rare chance to stun, which is always good. And he's also an AoE attacker, which is also solid. His link set is also very, very good as well. And that's pretty much the positives of Majin Vegeta. But again, the fact that his defense is pretty trashola. He can get slapped really, really hard, and it's only, what, a 10% chance to stun? Maybe it's 20% chance to stun. I don't remember, but it's not great. Yeah, he's very limited, right? He's definitely an old school unit. And the next old school unit on here is Intelligence Gohan. Now, the thing that Intelligence Gohan does that's really well is damage. He's doing Mega Colossal on both his 12 and 18 ki, and he gains ki so easily because I believe he was one of the first characters in the game that just receives 2 ki for any type orb that he gets, which is fantastic. But again, no defense. He gets destroyed on almost every single game mode you can think of, and so that makes him a serious liability. Just like Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Where's the boy at? There he is. This dude also does some pretty good damage if you're able to get his 18 ki off, and if it's a 12 ki, then he keeps his defense. Unfortunately, he's kind of a this or that, right? He either has a little bit of defense, but he does 0 damage, or he does a lot of damage and he has 0 defense. That is why I put him in the corn tier and not in the tier above, the Kami tier, because even though he has some semblance of defense, you have to sacrifice your offense for it. Whereas Majin Vegeta and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan are just always going to do great offense, right? They may sacrifice their defense, but they're always going to do great offense. So I think that kind of rounds them all out to be considered on the same tier, and that's why they're all on the corn tier together. Okay, let's move on up to the Kami tier. And the first character, again, order does not matter. The first character on the next tier is going to be... there they are. Wow, I couldn't find them for a second. Trunks and Mai. I'm not a huge fan of Trunks and Mai, simply because I do think that in order for them to be at their strongest, you have to build an entire team around them. And honestly, even when you build their entire team around them, they are not going to be the show-stealing card. The way that you want it to work is you would love for this card to go into Super Battle Road and just stun everything, right? But unfortunately, if you are not building that team and you're just trying to bring him in as a stunner or whatnot, if that stun doesn't go off, you are dead because their defense is going to be garbage. They're very similar to Tech Hit, where it's stun or nothing. If you don't stun, you're dead. You have no survivability. Your damage isn't particularly insane. It's just trying to get that stun off. So he's very gimmicky for an LR card. He's kind of used for one thing, which is SBR. Or you can just try to build an entire team around him and bring him on like longer events and stuff like that. But then his stun doesn't work on those most of those events because most of those characters are immune to stun. So kind of gimmicky. Hence why I put him down here in the Kami tier. Another character that's a little gimmicky is the GT Trio. Now the GT Trio is very strong, and again, if you build a team around them, they can hit really hard and they can be decent tanks. But unfortunately, that team is so limited, like Dragon Ball Seekers, Youth, all these characters, they're not going to have a lot of synergy with many people on their team. And I just feel like the GT Trio don't have their best partners yet. I feel like that day is going to come in the future. Because their kit is great, right? Individually, their kit is great. But would you, or how often do you bring this character alongside your teams? You can really only put them on Dragon Ball Seekers, maybe Youth. That's 2 categories. You ain't gonna put them on Joint Forces. They're just not gonna pair up with anybody. So they're very limited in that respect. Again, their passive skill is fantastic. Their super attack is awesome. I love all that. But if you are not synergizing with other people, then what's the point? You know what I mean? So that's why I do take points away from them. I think they're individually better than the spot that I give them, but because of that fact, because their teams are not necessarily built out yet and will in the future, that is why I put them in the Kami tier. Let's move up, or not move up, but let's move to the side here and drop Physical Trunks. I think Physical Trunks is still solid. 50% chance to crit is great. Kind of mini stacks defense, right, for a few turns. And he can hit very hard. And the good thing about Physical Trunks is the fact that he has a lot of different linking partners. A lot. So he's gotten much stronger over the years because of the fact that you have other Super Saiyan Trunks and other Trunks that pair up great with him. And Vegeta's for that matter. So he can actually do some damage, and he can be okay defensively. But I think this is kind of like the upper limit to his power here, the Kami tier. And another unit who's kind of at the limit of their power is Physical Bardock. And I'm going to put him in the same tier as the Physical Trunks, simply because he's kind of a jack of all spades, master of none type of deal, where he can be tanky, he can do decent damage, he can link okay, as most Bardocks can. They can link okay, but then that's about it, right? They're not going to excel in any particular area, or this Bardock isn't for that matter. And he's been replaced by the AGL Bardock. The AGL Bardock is just better. Potentially the Physical Bardock can like one hit harder, like he can get his attack stat higher, but the AGL Bardock has all of those fantastic gimmicks that he has with the guaranteed crit on Wicked Bloodline and all this crazy stuff, right? It's absolutely phenomenal. So the amount of damage that he can theoretically put out is much higher than the Physical Bardock throughout like the long run. So that is why I put him in the Kami tier. Still a great card. I do like using him. Let's move up to the King Yama tier, and we're going to put a card that I wished was so much better. This Napa Vegeta. Unfortunately, this Napa Vegeta, as I've always said before, kind of makes no sense. It feels like it was created by two different people who weren't talking to each other. So the fact that he gains flat stats for dodging, but has no dodge built into his kit besides his active skill that he can only do one time, is troll. And the fact that he lowers his own attack when he pops that active skill for the guaranteed dodge is even more troll. It's like, why are you punishing me for trying to have his passive activate, right? You look at someone like Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, where the second part of his passive works perfectly with his active skill. Works perfectly with it. So why is it that Vegeta and Nappa are punished for activating the last part of their passive by using their active skill? It's obviously, it was intended to be used together, and yet you punish them for doing it. It makes zero sense. And I just wish that they removed the Nappa part of the card and just had Vegeta, honestly, because the Vegeta is very good, but the Nappa just kind of holds it back. Next up, we're going to put the Strength Beerus on this tier, King Yama tier. The reason why I have him on this tier and not higher, I do really like this Beerus and Whis, but I do think that you kind of have to have certain units, and only certain units to run with them. You have to have Physical Beerus, Strength Whis, Intelligence Vados, and support on rotation, or else you're not hitting 18 key. You need to have good people that are really benefiting him. He can't be, or they cannot be, just someone that you throw in a squad and hope they carry their weight, because they're just never going to be able to do their 18 keys. They're going to be stuck at 12 key, and sometimes they may not even super attack at all. So it's a little unfortunate, because they do need a lot of help. But once they do receive help, I want to tell you this right now, the Strength Beerus and Whis hit very hard, and at the Rainbow Star level, tank very well. But again, they really have to be babied. Okay, they have to be babied. They're not like the Physical Beerus, where I think the Physical Beerus is much more self-sustaining than these guys. Much more self-sustaining, right? Next up, I'm putting the Physical LR Cell on the King Yama tier. I know some people may overvalue the Physical Cell, and I did for a little bit. Before, I used to think that he was pretty trash. Then I leveled his links up to 10, and I'm like, all right, this guy is phenomenal. And then I'm like, let's hold back a little bit. Let's pump the brakes just a bit. He's still great. He can still do very good damage. His defense is okay, like it's not bad. Obviously he's doing more when he's facing more people, but he's just like a baby version of Intelligence Cell. He just doesn't have like the cool perks that Intelligence Cell has. That doesn't make him bad, it just makes him an inferior version. Now, the good thing about him is the fact that he's Cell and Cell Juniors, so you can use him alongside all the other cells, and so he's going to be able to link up very, very well. But like I said, Super Battle Road is probably his best game mode, and even then, if you get unlucky, or if you're getting towards the end where it's just one character, you might potentially, you definitely lose your luster, let's just put it like that. Next up, I'm putting my boy Strength Frieza on here. Whoopsie, let me just put him right here. Strength Frieza, the main reason is the simple fact that he doesn't reach his peak until you lose health. And you have to be below 30% health to put him at his max, which is just dumb. Because for most game modes, if you are below 30% health, that means that you are at the risk of dying if you go below 30% health. Only the most difficult game modes are going to put you below 30% health. So he's not going to keep it. It's not like, I'll give you an example from a different game. There's One Piece Treasure Cruise. There was a character back in the day, Legend Whitebeard, where he gained a massive buff for his team if you were below 30% health. And so what they did is in that game, you can have a ship, and the ship gave you like an effect, like 5,000 attack or 3,000 HP or whatever the heck it was, whatever they decided to do. HP, what fight stats would they have? Like just stuff like that, right? So his ship gave him 70% health reduction, so he would start at 30% HP. So he would start with the buff. Now, in most game modes, that's fine. You could be okay with that. But in Dokkan Battle, you don't have anything like that. You would have to consistently 12 key super attack with Frieza to be able to get down to that 30% HP level. And you're either going to defeat the event you're in by the time you get there, or the event is going to take you down to that health, and you don't want to stay there because you'll probably die if you stay at that health. So, unfortunately, the uptime of seeing him at his strongest or even near his strongest is very small. But the fact that his links are so good because he's a Frieza unit and he just hits really hard even without his full buffs is one of the main reasons why I have him in the King Yama tier alongside of some other great LRs. Next up, we're throwing Lr Goku and Zamasu, however you want to pronounce him. I actually just did a level 10 Link video, Rainbow Star. This dude is phenomenal still. 15% HP recovery at the start of turn, pseudo stacks defense, gains attack when he gets hit up to 120%. He can hit extremely hard, 4 or 5 millions, and his defense could get up to like 200k plus. And the great thing about it is that since he's a Goku Black unit, there's so many units that link up perfectly with him. So he just fits in to a bunch of different teams with a bunch of different character configurations. And, no one's really going to replace him in terms of the name, right? It's not like his name is Rose Goku Black and there's like 3 Rose Goku Blacks and you have to figure out which one you want to use. No, it's just this one LR card, this dual card. And so you can use him alongside all those other characters, which is fantastic. So I'm a big fan of him. Let's move up one tier, King Kai tier. And first, we're going to put LR Bojack. Now, when the Strength Bojack comes out, you will probably see this Bojack rise up like 2 tiers, honestly, because all his links will be active at that point. He'll be gaining a buff. It's insane. He'll be 200 plus K defense, maybe 300k, and he'll be doing 4 or 5 million attack stats. Plus, if he's attacking first, then he's giving the rest of his allies in that turn 40% attack if he's 18 key super attacking. So that is incredible. Right now, you kind of just have to make do with either a TUR version of the LR, which I do have, or the level 100 World Tournament Bojack to run with him. So the amount of linking partners he has right now is very limited, hence why I have him just in the King Kai tier. Now, what he does on his own is fantastic, so that is why, again, he's in the King Kai tier. He's an absolute mad lad. And who else is an absolute mad lad is the homie Lr Goku and Vegeta from the Majin Buu saga. These dudes are pretty insane, if you ask me. The fact that they do so much damage even in the form that they're currently in, right? Even in this base form or whatever, in this untransformed state. Once they go into Vegito, GG. They do so much damage with their counters, with their super attacks, that you give back 100% health. Unfortunately, the transformation condition is not particularly great. 6 turns, 50% health you have to be below. So that's not good, but everything else is just fantastic about them. Same thing with the physical Gogeta, which is also the other 3-year anniversary unit. These dudes are just as good, right? Instead of counters, you're going to do attack effective against all types. I do think that they have the inferior leader skill, fusion as opposed to Patara, but I think that they're pretty close in ability, so hence why I have them on the King Kai tier. Honestly, I could put them higher, but I'll leave them there for now. I'm kind of fine with them being here. The next character on here is kind of an anomaly. Movie Broly Trio. Now, they can, they're so weird, dude. So, like, passive-wise, I always say this, they have one of the best passives in the game. The fact that they have a way to guarantee dodge, the fact that they have a way to buff allies' attack, they have a way to buff allies' defense, they have a way to give themselves nuking ability, is just insane. That is, like, one of the best kits in the game. Now, what draws them down to earth is the fact that they're on 2 categories, right? Joint Forces, Movie Boss. And their links are just all over the place, so they don't really share links with a lot of people. And so you kind of have to bring orb changers or just like heavy supports to be able to make them work. I've mentioned it many times before. If they were a Goku unit, they'd probably be one of the best units in the game with their passive. But unfortunately, they're not, and so they will stay on this King Kai tier. Next up is my guy, LR Baby. Super Saiyan 2 Baby is a fantastic unit. You have to be facing Pure Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans for him to gain his buff. Luckily, Pure Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans make up like 60-70% of the game. So for the majority of the time you're fighting, Baby's going to be getting a nice little attack boost. His defense is not bad either, and he lowers attack, which is always great. He also has that the Giant Ape mechanic, which sometimes can save you, especially when you least expect it. So I'm a big fan of the Baby. When they start making more GT characters, I think he's in the same boat as the GT trio. He is going to be much better. Much better when they start making more GT villains. GT Trio is going to be much better when they start making more GT heroes. So expect them to definitely rise. Okay, let's move up to the next tier. And I'm throwing my guy, LR Rose Goku. The fact that he's increasing his defense by such a wide amount. And his damage is just insane, right? His damage is just insane. So the thing that I always say about LR Rose, he is one of the LRs in the game that pretty good at 55%. Amazing at Rainbow Star with great skill orbs, okay? And you can say that about a lot of LRs, a lot of characters. Oh, yeah, they get better when they rainbowed, of course. But this guy is, like, because he's intelligence, you get a free dupe of dodge. But he doesn't really want that. He wants a lot of additional, and he wants a lot of crit. Because he already is doing so much attack with his key meter rising that you want it to be able to crit to hit as hard as possible. But then you also want him to additional super attack so he can greatly raise his defense multiple times, right? And then he could be tanky. So once you're Rainbow Starred and have like great skill orbs in him, he is a complete package. He is an absolute complete package because the sheer amount of damage that he can put out, the defense that he can kick into himself is fantastic. But at 55%, he does feel a little lackluster, especially compared to other units. Next up is going to be the homie Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. I do have Super Saiyan, this is a spoiler, I do have Super Saiyan 4 below Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and it's mainly because the leader skill and the fact that he only massively raises his attack on his 12 key, and he doesn't do his defense on his 12 key. He only massively raises his defense on his 18 key. So that means that he's starting with 80% defense, which is not fantastic. And that's it. So when he super attacks, that's all if you're just 12 key super attacking, which is going to happen a lot of times. And he's only going to be tanky if he gets his 18 key super attack off, as opposed to Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which is the opposite. He massively raises it on his 18 key, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But I also mentioned his leader skill. His leader skill is Vegeta's family. there's just not as many Vegeta's family as there is Goku's family. Still a good category, don't get me wrong, but it definitely needs more love, and hopefully Dokkan Battle adds more love. Now, the fact that he's going to counter super attacks is fantastic. His active skill only requiring 3 turns, just absolutely love it. And it's just another nuking ability, which is really good, and I really enjoy. Int God Goku is up next on the Grand Kai tier. For 7 turns, he's an absolute monster in Super Battle Road or any other event that's a shorter event. Even on longer events, he's still going to be very good. Still going to hit very hard. Just like the LR Rose, just like a lot of intelligence units in general, they're going to benefit heavily from the dupe system and from the skill orbs. So this dude has helped me quite a bit in beating certain Super Battle Roads. Particularly if you get lucky with that 50% chance to dodge or crit. So I am a fan of that Intelligence God Goku. I have one dupe in mind right now, and I can definitely tell the difference between that and 55%. So at Rainbow Star, that's a lot of talent you're bringing in right there. Next up on the Grand Kai tier is this dastardly fiend right there, Tech Broly. Some people put Tech Broly a lot higher. I'm going to put him in the Grand Kai tier, mainly because he just lacks defense. He's an offensive monster. We understand that. We get it. He does massive amounts of damage, especially when he transforms. He just like cleans the counter with the majority of content in the game. But if he gets hit, super attacked in harder difficulties, Infinite Dragon Ball Histories, Super Battle Roads, Extreme Super Battle Roads, whatever you're doing, he'll just die. He'll just die. He has no way to raise his defense. His links don't really give him much defense at all. So that's a little unfortunate because he's such an offensive monster. And it never makes sense because it's like, dude, it's Broly. He face tanked a Kamehameha. Makes no sense. Anyway, moving up, Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going into the Supreme Kai tier. I kind of explained it before. The fact that he's gaining defense on both his 12 key and his 18 key. So if you 18 key, get 100% defense, and then do it's 80% or 100? I think it's 100. And then you do a super attack, additional super attack, then you're 200% defense on top. That is fantastic. He does only start with a little bit of defense, and he gains it as the turn goes on his passive. But honestly, him having the ability to super attack and gain defense is a big plus. So that is the Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Next up, LR Super Saiyan Goku, or base form Goku that goes Super Saiyan, as well as the Frieza, LR Go Frieza as they call them. The drawback is they don't have any defense until they attack, which is unfortunate because they get hit. They can get hit really hard. And their maximum damage isn't until the 18 key. The good thing is that they do so much damage with their 18 key, so much damage, and their defense is respectable after they attack. Also, that you only need to lower attack to be able to get that 18 key off, and they lower attack, or that 18 key passive, right? The ultra super attack, extra damage. They lower the attack of the enemy, which is great. So if you have 2 of these guys on a team, you're running rep 7, then one Goku could lower attack, and then the second one will benefit from it. Or if you just have like MVP 17 or anybody like that, right? Who else is the one that just lowers defense, lowers attack? I forget. There's a few units in the game, like God Topo, actually. You throw him on that team, whoo, lowering that defense by 80%. Good morning. Actually, it doesn't lower attack. So does he lower attack? I don't know. I'm trolling right now. Anyway, moving along. LR androids, moving on to this tier right here. The LR androids are like one of the best units on their team, simply because they were like the introduction for LR supports that also do massive amounts of damage and are great defensively, particularly when he exchanges out. But they didn't really do LR supports where the LR is strong, but he's also giving everybody, something to do, essentially. He's giving, attack and defense, all that stuff that they do. And then you put the exchange out just like you would do for the AGL Vegeta, and then boom, he's just going to wipe the floor with people. But yeah, LR androids are fantastic, pair up perfectly with everybody on that team, and that's why they're in the Supreme Kai tier. Moving up, we got Go Bros, God of Destruction tier. Now we're starting to get into the top tier, top echelon of characters in the game. Go Bros, one of the most destructive powered characters in the game. The amount of damage, for a long time, he had the speedrun record for Legendary Goku event, where he cleared it the fastest. I love characters that solve their own problems. He has a problem. He doesn't get a lot of ki from his links. He solves it. Every time he attacks, he gives himself ki, extra attack, extra defense. How he solves it double time is he attacks minimum of 2 times per turn. That is fantastic. I absolutely love it. Active skill is a little wonky to get off. You have to be below like 58% HP or whatever, and then you can fire it off. I think you have to wait 3 turns or something like that, but that's not terrible, and it does a decent amount of damage. So that guy's built for damage. That's what he does, and even when he's all built up, after like, what, 11 attacks or something like that, 10, 11 attacks, he's going to be at 200% plus defense. So he's fine, right? He's really, really good. Next up, Master of Defense, Aglr Gohan. I have him rainbowed at level 10 links. Even in his first form, he's doing 4 to 5 million attack stats. His defense just gets better and better and better and better. Better never fails you. And then if you're lucky enough to have him transform, and I say lucky enough, if you won the lotto in the past 6 months, if you found a shamrock that led you to a pot of gold, if you did a scratch ticket and won a house, and then you're able to get him to transform into his LR Super Saiyan 2 form, it does some of the most high damage in the game, right? The highest attack stat in the game, single point damage. So absolutely insane monster. Links are good. Do love that card. Next up, who I do think is the best defensive unit in the game, still would be LR Calen Khalifa. A lot of people talk about like Lrui Goku or Strength Whis or whoever the case is, or the Gohan for that matter. But these girls, not only do they do additional attacks, which have the chance of being super attacks, and it could be up to 4 per turn. They stack defense, obviously, on all those super attacks. They're also giving themselves, stats as they attack. And they're also giving themselves dodge. That's the big thing. They gain up to 66% dodge. So they just have to attack a few times. 66% dodge, okay? 66% dodge. Plus they're stacking defense. That's just unfair. It's unfair. And they could do some very good damage as long as you build a team around them. Even without it, they're going to do 2 million or so damage because each super attack will do like maybe 1 million damage. And if you haven't built a team around them, they probably won't do any more than 2 super attacks per turn. So, 1 million times 2, 2 million damage per turn. So they're going to do okay damage. Their defense is just unbelievable if they're even taking any damage because they're dodging. It's just ridiculous. So LR Calen Khalifa is still monstrous. Another character who's still monstrous, LR Spirit Bomb Goku. This guy, again, fantastic for Super Battle Road or any other event where you need stats fast. Just have Super Saiyans. And guess what? Super Saiyans is one of the largest categories in the game. So if Super Saiyans are attacking his turn and he's grabbing orbs, then he's going to be a monster. If he's grabbing a lot of orbs, he's going to be a monster. Well, the good thing is he's an orb changer, so he fixes his own problem. And like I said before, I love characters that do that. They have an issue. He needs orbs. What does he do? Changes his own orbs. What else does he do? Gets stronger as he gains those orbs. So absolutely love this guy. He hits like a truck. He tanks like a brick wall. So this dude, and his links are always good. And again, since he's an orb changer, that benefits the turn. Benefits everybody on the turn. So that's a very, very good skill to have. Next up, LR Incel. Good skill to have. Defense, damage, all the above, right? Self-heal, all that fun stuff. Incel has fantastic links with other cells and a lot of androids, to be honest. He's got Android Cell Saga category, which is a good category to lead. And he can get very high offensively if he's facing a lot of people. Even if he's not, he's still going to do good damage. And his defense is fantastic as well. Like, he's just a steel wall as opposed to a brick wall. This man's a steel wall. And then if he transforms, which is actually easier than Gohan, drop below 30% HP, you get full health. And then at that point, the amount of damage that he can push out is insane. And then he gets his active skill for even more damage. And his defense is no slouch either in that perfect cell form. So still love that intelligence cell. Absolutely fantastic. Now, we're on Guide Angel tier, and we're putting Tech LR Vegito. My goodness, how far the mighty have fallen. And I say that as he's still one of the best LRs in the game. Tech Vegito, I mean, I prefer Vegito over Gogeta, but I'm going to put them on the same tier. Spoiler, Gogeta's going to be on this tier. Simply because Vegito does the double super attack, which guarantees raising his defense, whereas Gogeta guarantees doing more damage for the most part. But if you have heavy crit into Vegito, then it doesn't matter because the amount of times he's going to be critting, he's going to be double super attacking, which will do more damage than Gogeta doing that super attack, and then an additional that's effective against all types. In my opinion, I'd actually like somebody to do the math on that. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that though. But what's not disputable is Vegito does just have better defense, right? Like the fact that he's going to be double super attacking guaranteed, so he's going to be raising his defense twice, as opposed to Gogeta, who has a chance to super attack twice. You know, that's kind of a no-brainer at that point. So Gogeta obviously is going to be on this tier as well. I kind of spelled it out for you. Now, the thing with Gogeta is he does everything that the Vegito does, right? Except instead of the guaranteed super attack, it's a guaranteed additional, and his attacks are effective against all types. So I think on average, he'll probably do more damage for the most part. But his leader skill is obviously worse. Same thing with the 3-year anniversaries. Potara is just much better than Fusion. Like, it's not even close. Fusion still needs some work, especially in defense, to be a top tier category. I don't even consider it a top 10 category, honestly. But Potara is like top 5 category still to this day. So absolutely insane. Gogeta is still fantastic, by the way. They're both incredible. Who else is incredible is the LR Blue Boys. LR Blue Boys, fantastic. They become better as I use them. I love the fact that they link up perfectly with other Tournament of Power characters. And their leader skill isn't bad. You know, what, the all-out struggle? Not a bad category at all. Pretty solid, honestly. And the amount of damage that they could do is fantastic. I love that they also give themselves crit, which is great. The thing I don't love about them is the same thing I don't love about the AGL Evolution Vegeta and anybody else that guarantees normal attacks as additionals, is you are so reliant on crit. Now, I do love that they give themselves crit. I do love it. Because some of those crits can be 800k, 900k, a million on a normal attack, which is great. But if you're not critting, you're doing 2 additional attacks, which probably aren't doing that much damage. So I do think, with that said, though, the amount of sheer damage they can put out is absolutely insane. Hence why they belong on this Guide Angel tier. And next person who belongs, or last person who belongs on this Guide Angel tier, is Angel Vegeta himself. So Super Saiyan 2 Angel Vegeta. This dude hits so hard with his unit super attack, or partner super attack, whatever you want to call it. The conditions are not hard to get at all. You just need a Majin Buu Saga Goku. There's 9 of them, if I remember correctly. I think there might be more. I think there's actually 10, but there's just so many different Majin Buu Saga Gokus you can have on your team, even free to play ones. So you have no excuse to be able to not get his partner super attack to go off. And he's got a lot of units that are going to be able to help him out, right? Especially on a Majin Buu Saga team. Hell, the physical support Gohan, the mono support for Super, is on Majin Buu Saga team. So obviously you can't run Tech Transforming Gohan, but hey, if you're trying to boost this guy up to his capacity, then that's the sacrifice you're willing to make. The thing that I don't like about this Vegeta is the simple fact that he does not gain his stats before he super attacks. His passive is written poorly, in my opinion. It says that when you raise his key meter, he's going to gain stats. He doesn't until he actually performs his super attack. So you don't see his stats raise in terms of defense. So that means that if he gets hit first, he can get hit very, very hard. And that can be a problem. Now, after he super attacks, he's good money. No problem whatsoever. But before, you could potentially find yourself in a bind. And that's why I do have Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan above the Super Saiyan 2 Angel Vegeta. And the simple fact is that Tech Gohan does the same thing, except he gains his stats right when he grabs those orbs. Right when he grabs those orbs is when he gains his stats. He doesn't have to wait to super or do anything like that. So that is a much better way to do things, in my opinion. Also, one of the most important one of the biggest things for these top tier units, one of the reasons why LR Super Saiyan 2 Int Gohan was so powerful for so long and considered the best LR in the game when he came out, is the fact that he gains so much ki from normal orbs. He's gaining 2 ki for every type orb he gets, 3 ki for tech. So 18 keys are just off rip, 18 ki, 18 ki, 18 ki. And then as I mentioned before, his passive, the bottom half of his passive skill works in tandem with his active skill. So he's getting 10 million attack stats, 15 million attack stats, potentially 20 million attack stats. The amount of damage he can do is mind-boggling. So it's incredible. This dude is absolutely monstrous, and I'm a huge fan of the card. And the next character I'm a huge fan of is Arjiran. Arjiran is, I've put it like this. Arjiran in the anime is a boring, simple, very non-intricate character. Not complex at all. What he does is power. He is a mammoth. He is a beast. He runs through buildings. Okay, he leaves a mud hole and stomps it dry kind of guy. And that's what they did with his kit. They said, hey, 200% attack and defense sounds good. That sounds good. Lowering stats on his super attack and then gaining attacks effective against all, right? That sounds good. Guaranteed crit when the character's stunned. That sounds good. You know, all those things are just absolutely insane. His passive skill makes him even stronger, or his active skill, I'm sorry, makes him even stronger. So, Jiren is just a Leviathan, all right? He's just like a brain-dead zombie that is just built like a tank and just crashes through walls. Doesn't think, doesn't have a good backstory, nothing. Just, boom, breaks through everything. That's what he's meant to do, and he does it very, very well. Next up, Lrui Goku. And talking about doing things well, this man does a lot well. Number one, he dodges well. 70% dodge chance. 70%. So that's 3% more. Or 4% more. Sorry, my math is bad. 4% more than Calen Khalifa. Fully built up. Fully built up. Still gets 4% more for the first 7 turns. Now, the great thing is that I've mentioned it before, problems with characters, they solve themselves, okay? He starts off low with attack and defense, very low, but gains it as he dodges. Well, how else are you going to dodge unless if you have a ton of dodge? 70%! Why wasn't Vegeta and Napa built like this? They weren't. Also, I love that Lrui Goku negates guard. He cancels out guard, so the rest of your turn, if you have type disadvantaged characters, will just slap. They'll absolutely slap. So Lrui Goku, magnificent. Even after the 7 turns are done, I love that they're just like, all right, we're going to nerf him. 70% dodge turns to 50. That's it. 50% is still a lot, dude. Thank you for the 50. We'll take the 50. Appreciate it. Yeah, we like 50. All right, 50% dodge is great. Let's move on. Final characters. Zeno tier. You already see it. Bootanks. Bootanks is tech transforming Gohan on a crack. And cocaine and meth and speed and heroin and adrenaline and, you know, that thing that made the Powerpuff Girls. All those drugs all together is what Aglr Gohan is. Aglr Gohan does not need help. That's what I've tried to talk about tech transforming Gohan, the TUR, the Dokkan Fest. This man doesn't need help, okay? He doesn't need it because he has the same ability that the Gohan has, this Aglr Gohan. He gains extra ki on type orbs, all right? So 18 keys are nothing to him. He's stacking defense on his 18 ki. He's got a chance, 25% chance on global to get a super attack, additional super attack, which is going to be a 12 ki, and that stacks his attack. So he's stacking attack and defense, and he's doing a lot of damage while he's doing it. And, I mean, it's just unfair what he does, because his links are also the most glowed up links of all links in the game. Because he's a Majin character. So all his links are OP, and he shares them with so many different Majin characters. Now, the thing I do have to say is his leader skill is not the best. His leader skill is not the best. Power absorption and Majin power, not the greatest categories in the world. But in terms of like solo ability, Bootanks is a beast. And then when you're confidently built up his stats, you switch him over to Gohan, and he's doing more damage. He's got the chance to crit, fat chance to crit, and he seals the enemy's super attack. So he's just a one-man destructive army in the game. All right? Just one-man destruction army. Doesn't need a team. Just put him on a team full of Cybermen. He's gonna carry that team, okay? Whereas compared to the strength Goku Vegeta, ultimate team player. Ultimate team player. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? Well, 30% damage reduction. It's good. Great attack and defense. Same, thing as the Bootanks having that type, key thing where they gain more key for type orbs. And then when you transform, you gain 50% back HP. You can see super attacks for 10 turns. So you get Piccolo's ability for 10 turns. You're countering. You're doing massive damage. You're critting. You're additionally. You're doing too much. All right? You're doing too much. It's too much. And his leader skill ability might possibly be the best combo in the game. Majin Buu Saga. Too strong. Battle of Wits. I mean, those two, the amount of characters in that shared pool is disgusting, disturbing. It's makes you delirious. And any other D word you can think of. So that is the list. January 2021, first full LR tier list for Global of the Year. Hopefully you enjoy it. If not, you were probably already typing down below since you've skipped 40 minutes of this video just to see where everybody placed out. I appreciate you anyway. Just make sure you leave a like. Or if you want to join the club and become a champion or even just the elite, you already know what to do. Join Chris Gonzalez, join Wolverine Gaming, become a Boomer champion, and fully integrate yourself into the club. If you want to do it the free-to-play way, you can gently rub that sub button, gingerly ring that bell button, lovingly kiss the like button. As always, this is Periodic. See y'all in the next video.